Your Excellency, Mr. Mohammad Ashraf Ghani, President of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan. Honorable Shri M. Hamid Ansari, Vice President of India. Distinguished members of the Afghan delegation, Excellencies, members of the Governing Council, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege for us at ICWA to extend a warm welcome to Your Excellency. We meet in the backdrop of a terrible tragedy caused by the massive earthquake in Nepal. On behalf of all present here, we would like to express our support and solidarity with the people of Nepal. May I read an extract from the media statement made by Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi earlier today, and I quote, "President Ghani and I speak for our two countries, South Asia and the world, to the people of Nepal. Your courage and humanity has earned the respect of the world, and you are not alone in this moment of tragedy and trial. We will do everything possible with rescue and relief, and we will certainly be there when you rebuild your lives and reconstruct your homes and heritage," unquote. The ICWA is deeply honored by Your Excellency's acceptance of our invitation to deliver the 16th Sapru House lecture. This lecture series, started in August 2012, is dedicated to the founders and builders of ICWA, which has aptly been described by the Parliament of India, and I quote, as an institution of national importance, unquote. Your presence amidst us today, Mr. President, imparts a special value to the lecture series and indeed to the institution itself. I also take this opportunity to welcome Honorable Vice President of India. Under his inspiring guidance as the President of the Governing Council of ICWA, this institution has scaled new heights in the field of foreign policy research, publication, outreach, track to dialogues, and contribution to policy making. Excellency, our two countries have been linked together through strong bonds of history, culture, civilization, and mutuality of interests. We are important neighbors, important to each other as well as for the region. Our relations have indeed been multidimensional. Our relationship is not confined to governments only. It is anchored in vibrant bonds that exist between our peoples since a very long time. We watch and study developments in and around Afghanistan from this friendly perspective. We are deeply conscious of the imperative need of our bilateral relationship to contribute positively to peace, stability, and development in our region. We view Afghanistan as a valuable bridge between South Asia and Central Asia and beyond. In this backdrop, we look forward to Your Excellency's address on the important subject, that is, the rebirth of the Asian continental economy, regional cooperation, and Afghanistan's cooperative advantage. Your reflections, sir, will greatly help us, our research faculty, friends of ICWA, and other scholars to understand and appreciate Afghanistan's plans and priorities, as well as challenges and opportunities in the future. Excellency, you have before you a sizable audience representing a cross-section of scholars, academics, think tanks, diplomats, officials, business leaders, media representatives, and faculty and student officers of the National Defense College. Their presence here confirms their deep interest in your great country and its tremendous importance for us. Dear friends, while many of you are familiar with the achievements of our chief guest, may I quickly capture a few essential facts about his illustrious background. He is a leading scholar of political science and anthropology. He studied in Afghanistan, then at the American University of Beirut, and later at New York's Columbia University. He joined the World Bank as a lead anthropologist, advising it on the human dimension of economic programs. He served as Afghanistan's finance minister for the duration of the transitional administration. In this capacity, he played a key role in the design and implementation of some of the most extensive and challenging reforms. Subsequently, he served as the Chancellor of Kabul University, and later he was the chairman of the Transition Coordination Commission. He was sworn in as the President of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan on 29 September 2014. Thank you very much for your attention. The President is respectfully now requested to deliver his address. Honored guests, please join me in putting your hands together to welcome the President.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mr. Vice President Ansari, Ambassador Bhatia, distinguished audience, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be with you tonight. I apologize in advance for being much briefer than I intended to, because you cannot make the President of India wait. First of all, my deepest sympathies to the people of Nepal. I've had the pleasure of walking the mountains of Nepal repeatedly, and having been a privileged observer during their remarkable process of democracy, all our hearts go to them. Himalayas are joined together. Tragically, the earthquake has not been confined to Nepal. I've just learned that we've lost over 50 people in the province of Badakhshan to a recent earthquake. I begin with ecology because the change in the climate forces us to think through continentally. Natural disasters do not respect political boundaries. Yet, the states of the region continuously fail to take account of the need, the imperative that we must cooperate to deal with these phenomena. And I'm heartened by Prime Minister Modi's assurance that we will all mobilize to tackle this very important issue. In the next 20 years, I'll go straight to the proposition. In the next 20 years, Asia is very likely to be transformed from a geographical notion to a continental economy. This has profound implications for the way subsequent centuries are going to be formed and shaped. But two trends compete, because Ambassador Bhatia asked me to both highlight the challenges and the opportunities. First, on the challenge side. The challenge is that we are dealing with a new ecology of terror. Terror is becoming a system. Morally, it's reprehensible. Sociologically, it must be comprehended as a system. And what are some of the key characteristics of this new ecology? it's morphing very rapidly. If Al-Qaeda, with all respects to Microsoft, was Windows 1, Daesh is Windows 5. Second, it is being embedded within the criminal economy. An unprecedented amount of finance is being made available to this new ecology. Three, it's becoming very brutal and focused on brutality in order to awe the population. Fourth, it's becoming networked in a very rapid rate. And fifth, it kills for the sake of killing in overwhelm. Within this ecology of terror, Afghanistan, both from a perspective of narrative and from perspective of operation, is seen as a single theater. Today, due to a series of convergent phenomena, various groups threatening stability in Asia are converging on our territory. They've been pushed over to our soil because they thought that there was a weak spot. We are the battlefront. We are today in Afghanistan are fighting on behalf of every one of our neighbors from India to Russia. This fundamental challenge asks the state system to respond coherently, together, organically. But what we know about bureaucracies is that they're slow to grasp, slower to act, and slower to coordinate. The main threat, therefore, is not from the phenomena, the ecology of terror. The main threat is from lack of coordination between states, so that we can have a coordinated response to a state system where weaknesses within the state system are the opportunities on which the ecology of terror thrives. This, I hope more than anything else, makes one phenomena clear. There is no advantage to competition between and among states when it comes to the ecology of terror. Any state sponsorship of these networks or their accommodation threatens the system as such. And that is the challenge that we must deal with, because the system that we've inherited, you can date it any way with what, but take for convenience, post-1945, is now under attack. Unless this resilience in coordination is injected into the system, we will all suffer. The second aspect is the opportunity. So let me highlight some of the key opportunities in terms of Afghanistan, because the public perception, the metaphors are about the threat. That's why I had to acknowledge it out front. Our first advantage in the next 25 years is our location. Until 18th century, our location was a key advantage. We were a roundabout. A roundabout, as Toynbee best described it, is a place where all ideas, people, and goods come to and go out of. We were an open space. We were a space that 500 years ago linked West Bengal to Nizhny Novgorod. No cash was required. One of the most sophisticated systems of bills of exchange were developed. A system of arbitration of disputes, a caravan trading system, a transport network. In other words, there was an economy, both symbolic and real. This ecology was disrupted by the rise of European imperialism. A space that was a roundabout was turned into a marginal space. We became the theater of Kipling. So while India got reoriented to Western economy, China got, etc., Afghanistan got marginalized. In the next 25 years, our location is the key connector. All roads between Central Asia and South Asia have to lead through Afghanistan. We are also the connector to East Asia and to West Asia. But this means that the potential, in order to realize the potential, we must think of infrastructure very differently. It is not the old minority trade-based system that would move the continental economy. It's a cluster of infrastructure: rail, road, pipelines, power, fiber optics, and air. This cluster needs to be developed coherently in order to deliver the advantage. And development of that cluster, again, just give you a slight indication. In the next 25 years, globally, there would be about $65 billion. The various estimates are from 45 to $65 trillion of investment are required in infrastructure. About 60% of this is likely to take place in Asia. We need to evolve very different instruments to realize this potential. But this potential would be transformative. If we were to realize this, well, the obvious question becomes, is the spatiality that is required for this available? There are two answers. One, of course, South Asia remains the least economic integrated region on Earth, and unless South Asia grasps this opportunity, within the next 10 years, parts of it will integrate much more to East Asia, part of it would integrate to Central Asia, and part of it would integrate to West Asia. But the other part is, for the continental economy and for the advantages of Afghanistan to develop, it does not need to be contiguous development. Why is that? Because our second advantage is our mineral resources. In the next 15 years, we will become the largest producer of copper in the world, the largest producer of iron in the world, one of the largest players in the gold market globally, and we have 14 of the 17 rare earth material. Our marble resources are enough to last the region 400 years, our construction material. 33% of Afghanistan's natural resources have been mapped. The estimated worth is from $1 to $3 trillion. With India's and China's transformation, this natural wealth awaits to become part of a continental framework. If you look into development of this natural wealth from a national perspective, you see limitations. When you see it from a regional perspective, you see immense potential and opportunity. The problem with natural wealth, of course, is that it is a curse attached to it. If we are to avoid the curse of natural wealth, our first priority must therefore be our location. Our second priority, again, we have the headwaters for practically every single one of our neighbors. We only use 10% of our available water today with 1960s technology. The land under cultivation in Afghanistan is exactly about half of what it was in 1978. And again, we are in the midst of 3 billion people. Water and cooperative arrangement regarding water is going to be the key to responding to changing global ecology and to creating new regimes of sharing inefficiency. So we would actually put water and land second, and then third, bring our natural world. Our fourth advantage, we are a country of the poor people with enormously rich individuals. We have money, but we do not have capital. And the difference is, money does not become productive. In order for money to work and to become an agent of transformation, it has to become capital. And thereby, again, comes the immense experience of the region. India's creativity in terms of financial instrument, in terms of the range of funds, and the enormous power of the Indian diaspora to transform money into wealth is one of the key issues. Our fifth advantage is our entrepreneurship. The Silk Road and millennia of connectivity has given us remarkable capacity to work with energy and thrive. Afghans are tough. We don't accept hierarchy. Because of that, we thrive on networks. But the type of hierarchy that the market brings actually is a much more disciplined process. So if we have these advantages, what is it that prevents us, and what is it that we need in order to contribute both to the rebirth of the Asian continental economy and to gain? First, I use the word rebirth because for millennia there was a continental system. India's textile exports to the West are part of every child's story. But the amount of textiles that northern India, where we are sitting, in today's Pakistan, exported to Central Asia and to Russia, historical scholarship determines was larger than that South India exported to Europe. These ranges become important. As part of this, the fundamental challenge then shifts to being conceptual. Why conceptual? Because model of building economies are based on national boundaries. If we are going to realize Afghanistan's immense potential, we must think regionally. Regionally, because the experience of the region, each single country, enables us to cut time by a phenomenal extent. Take just one example. The amount of investment that India has made in technology, cost of research and development. If we wanted to start with a national model, that would require us 50 years to catch up. But thinking this through a comparative, cooperative framework allows us to master time much more quickly and to be able to bring this about. When you put the two issues together, the challenge of the ecology of terror and the opportunity of a roundabout, I hope that we can shift political understanding. So what is it that we view ourselves as? Certainly not as a battlefield for proxy wars. Certainly not as a space to be contested over. Certainly not a buffer to be dominated. What we offer is a model of cooperation, a platform where all of us can come together, where a transformative capacity in the imagination is translated into building solid institutions where all of us will be able to live in comfort, in dignity. Delhi, you can begin with having breakfast in Delhi, lunch in Peshawar, and dinner in Kabul. I hope that what is immensely possible can become actually achievable. In the day when I will drive after retirement from Kabul to Delhi, I look forward to dedicating my life to creating this possibility of cooperation. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Excellencies, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now rise to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of the host institution and all those present here. Excellency, we express our gratitude to you for finding time in your busy schedule to deliver the 16th Sapru House lecture to us today. Your lecture has been heard with rapt attention, as you noticed. This visit to Sapru House reflects the importance that Your Excellency attaches to strengthening the relationship between our two countries. We are thankful to Shri M. Hamid Ansari, Honorable Vice President of India, for presiding over this function. Our warm thanks go to all the institutions and individuals who helped us to organize this special event. In particular, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to His Excellency Mr. Shahida Muhammad Abdali, Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan, and his team for their seamless collaboration with us. And I sincerely thank all members of our distinguished audience. ICWA will be pleased to serve as an important channel for Track 2 dialogue between our two countries as India further deepens its relations with Afghanistan. Your Excellency's insightful address today will motivate us to explore new avenues of cooperation and contribute to the ongoing dialogue and research activities. We warmly thank Your Excellency once again for being here and for sharing your profound thoughts with us. Thank you very much all for your attention. Do kindly spend a minute or two here before the party leaves, and then we cordially invite you to high tea on the lawns outside of the Sapru House. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next time, sir.